Today is Saturday, April, what is it, the 23rd? 23rd, 2022. This is Zealand Road, which is still closed. So we're doing a 3.5 mile road walk out to Zealand Trail. We're gonna do the Zealand Bonds Traverse today. It is about 9:20. Unfortunately, we wanted to hit the road around 7:15, start hiking, but somebody who shall remain nameless and is accompanying me realized the boots were at home when we were, 45 minutes from home?
55.
55 minutes from home. So, that kind of stinks. But it's beautiful out. And sunset, I think, is around 7:25. So hopefully we'll be most of the way out. The end of this hike is like 4.5 miles of flat. So that will go fast and is less technical. So we'll see how it goes. We're carrying snowshoes because the last couple trail reports, I saw one for Zealand from yesterday. They definitely recommended snowshoes above the hut. And I saw one from North Twin also yesterday, said you needed snowshoes. So we'll see. A lot of that depends on how cold or warm things are. But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be warm. So that makes for a bigger mess. And we might need snowshoes. Anyway, that's what we're doing now. All right, we are about 5.5 miles in. And this is Zealand right there. I think that's Cliff and this is Zealand. But I could be wrong. It could be that Cliff and Zealand is off, which I think might be the case actually. But we're coming into the marsh area, and there's been a lot of blowdowns. And actually driving up, there were tons of blowdowns around Twin Mountain. It was really noticeable. So I think they must have come down this week because they weren't, like on the side of the road you could see them. They weren't like that last week. So we've been wearing spikes for the last mile because it's been a sheet of ice in the woods. But now out here, there's nothing. But once we get through this marsh right here, we'll be back in the woods, so hopefully there'll be more ice. There it is. Water level's pretty high. On this side, let's see, it's, maybe you can't see, it's a bit flooded. Very nice. Okay, so the next stop is Zealand Hut, then Cliff. So this is Zealand Falls. I guess it's the upper portion of it. There was more waterfall as we climbed up along the edge here. But there it is. We are literally right around the corner from the hut. So, all right. Beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. And we haven't seen any other hikers. All right, we have switched over to snowshoes because the snow is kind of wet and sticky and slippery, and Also, we had quite a lot of climbing to do, so elevators are nice. And now we're popping out on Z-Cliff. Oh, beautiful. All right. Yikes. Okay, so. Yeah, there you go. There's the residential, so you can see Jefferson and Washington, Clay in between. And then, it's really hard. Small on my screen is Monroe and Franklin, I guess. Oh no, you can see coming right towards us is, oh no, my screen went dark, is Pierce and Eisenhower and Jackson. And then in the foreground is, let's see, Field, no, Tom, Field, and Willie. And in front of that is White Wall, this big cliff thing. Oh, nice. And over here, this big one is Kerrigan. And Vos Spur is the bump right next to it. And then Lowell. And then I get these always mixed up. There's Anderson, Nancy, and Bemis, and Lowell. But I know Lowell. I gotta do those other ones. And then, okay, so I can see now. This is Bond. And then Bondcliff is going to kind of go behind it. And then, oh, it's really, really hard to see on the screen. Owl's Head, kind of behind this tree. And then Franconia Ridge behind that. And then over here it would be like, I think that's North and South Twin, I believe. All right. I mean, if I didn't have on snowshoes, I would climb down there. You gotta look around the corner, but I don't need to do that. I'm just happy to have the view. We just saw two people. One came out to just do Z-Cliff, and one came out to just do Zealand. So they were heading back. I didn't see anyone at the hut. And we didn't really stop at the hut. And it is beautiful. Okay, so next stop is Zealand. Oh, there's two of them. Here we are at Zealand, and my buddy, the Gray Jays, there's two of them. They're here, waiting for me to give them something. And last time, I came all the way out here with Suet, and you guys didn't show up. So, I don't know what to tell you, bud. You're cute. You're a pretty bird. And I know you would take whatever I have, but I'm not giving you my pizza. Or you. Look at him, he's right there. Okay. So, it's lunchtime. We're at Zealand. We're not a little over 9 miles in. We've got 12 more to go. All right. We just entered the Alpine Zone. And this is Bond over here, and West Bond. I can hardly see on my screen. Sticking up right over here. And then we're gonna intersect right down here. There's a three-way junction. Oh man, I might need to go through there. So the Twinway is gonna go out towards the Twins over here. Over here with Lafayette on the right, and Lincoln and Longstack there, and then Liberty in front over here. And Bondcliff Trail is going to go up over this bump you can see. Now, it's going to take a spur off of the West Bond. I'm going to keep moving. It's a little windy. It's relatively warm, but if I'm going to be stuck in the wind, I'm going to layer up, I think. We go back into the trees once we get over that bump, and maybe before it too. We just encountered 3 guys coming back from West Bond. They stayed overnight at New Zealand Hut. So we've seen 5 people today, all of them heading back. And yeah, that's it. It's not cloudless anymore, but it's still beautiful. Running out of snow right here. We're on the spur going out to West Bond right now. Still wearing snowshoes. Everybody else we've seen has on spikes or bare boots, but it just seems like so much work when there's slippery stuff. I don't know. I prefer snowshoes, especially if I'm going to carry them. But coming up right through the break in the trees here, we'll be able to see the summit of West Bond. But anyway, it's pretty. I thought I would just show you what a lot of our day entails. The summit is straight ahead through the trees. Almost there. This is the summit of West Bond, and we are looking at South Twin right there, and then over this is Southwest Twin, and then sorry, we got Garfield, and actually Galehead is sticking up right there. I don't know if it shows on here, and then Franconia Ridge. Owl's Head in the foreground. This bump right here is still West Bond. It's just not as high as this spot. On the other side, sticking up is, I don't know, is that the Kinsmans or Moose? I think that's Moose. And then this way, right over there, is Mount Washington. And then this big thing right here is Bond. All the slides. Behind it, there's a mountain with a bunch of slides on it that's kind of reddish. That's Mount Lowell. And then Kerrigan is this big one right here. And then, I always get all screwed up now. What's behind Kerrigan? What is that? Oh, it's probably like Mount Kankamagus or Huntington, I think. I don't think those are 4,000 footers. And then over here, of course, is Bondcliff. And then, there's not a lot of walking space up here with snowshoes on. Oh, let's see. This is, I think, is Osceola's. And then the Hancocks over here. And then past Conaway is sticking up behind everything. And then the tri-pyramids, oh boy, I cannot see on my screen, are over here. And then the edge of Chikora is sticking up behind on the right-hand side of Kerrigan. Yeah, it's pretty clear. Not very windy either. It's shocking. Excellent. Okay, so next stop is going to be the summit of Bond, which is right there. So that's most of our gain that's left. And then we go down right along the ridge here. And then then there's a little bit of gain over to Bondcliff, and then we go down. So we're doing all right. It's like 2:30. I'm happy, considering how late we got started. We're moving right along. Excellent. It's so beautiful up here. It's too bad it takes so much work to get here. But at least you get a great view. We are at the summit of Mount Bond. So looking towards the presidentials, Confield and Willie in front of us. And then over this way is Z Cliff and Zealand, Geo, and South Twin, Southwest Twin. Right here is, in the foreground is West Bond. And then behind that is Owl's Head, and then behind that is Franconia Ridge. And then right down this way is Bondcliff, right there. So we're doing all right. It's beautiful. We just saw one other person heading out to West Bond. So 9 people so far. 8 of them definitely going the opposite direction. So it's kind of quiet. Everybody's probably on Franklin. We are in between Bondcliff and Bond. We just took our snowshoes off because this is definitely going to be bony. And this is just an awesome view. There's West Bond, Franconia Ridge, and Owl's Head. Bondcliff. Here we come. I think it's a little bit after 4 o'clock. And we have about 9 miles left, I think. But once we're on Bondcliff right here, it's all downhill and or flat. There's like 4.5 miles of completely flat. So we should make some excellent time, hopefully. Yeah, that's it. See bare ground, which is a nice thing to see. We'll have a bunch of bare ground in Lincoln Woods too, going out. But I think the other side of Bondcliff there's going to be a lot more snow. Alright, I gotta go catch up with John. This rock I was just standing on for the first time, actually standing on it, not crawled out there, on my hands and knees. That is the rock for the iconic Bondcliff shot, where it's like, I don't consider myself afraid of heights, but holy smokes, you're standing on that and the ground is down there, and it's terrifying. Well, I find it terrifying. So now John's gonna go out and I'll take his picture. So the person stands on that rock and the other person goes over there and takes a picture, and it looks totally scary. And it is, in fact, totally scary. We are about 18 miles done. We just came off of the steep kind of descending part of Bondcliff. And I don't know if this is still Bondcliff. It's basically an old railroad line. You can see maybe some of the ties right there. There's another one. And we're gonna go over a substantial bridge in about, I think about a mile. And then once we do that, it just continues on, but it's more heavily used and it's no longer part of the wilderness. So it can be maintained a little better. And that becomes the Lincoln Woods Trail. It takes us right back to the parking lot. And it also is an old railroad bed. So you have to watch your footing. I mean, it's nice and flat, except you have to watch your footing or you'll trip over something when you're tired and bored on the way out. But anyway, we had a great hike, I have to say. The spring conditions were spring-like, but not horrible. The base was quite firm, and we wore snowshoes for the center portion of it, but had bare boots for a lot of it. We have bare boots now. We had spikes for some of it. We used everything we brought, except our extra layers because it's warm. And yeah, excellent. So we should be out of here in another 2 hours, maybe less. And we're gonna leave our other car overnight up at the Winter Zealand parking, so that it would just be too much to drive back and get it today. So tomorrow we'll come back up and do something shorter and then drive home both cars. That way our poor dog won't be home too long without us. All right, so I'd say this was a successful hike. And I will probably not shoot anything else unless there's something of interest, like a bear or a moose. We are at the wilderness boundary. What a great thing to see after a long, long day. Still have a couple more miles to go, but a water crossing that we don't have to actually do ourselves. And we are 19.72 miles in. Yay. Isn't it pretty? All right. A couple more miles and we're done.